Hey folks, it's time for TWiP Pro Photo Critique number 109. This is TWiP. Hey, welcome back to another This Week in Photo Critique, TWiP Pro Photo Critique. This week's topic was general or open general, where the members of the community could reach deep into their archives and process something anew, not just grab something out of there, but process something anew or shoot something in any genre that they wanted to. And they came through this time. Troy, did you see the submissions in there?
I did. And as expected, we have a bumper crop of images.
I know. We have an embarrassment of riches, my friend.
We do. It's always the open categories are always a plethora of amazingness. So
yeah. It is really interesting to see what people pull out of the archives, and it's a glimpse into the psyche of our membership.
It is. I know.
Yeah. That's very good. Well, we got it. Like you said, there's a bumper crop of images to go through. 20 in total that were submitted.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Normally we get around half that. So yeah. Well, what do you say we cut the chit chat and dive in?
I am ready. I got the images up over here. Yep.
Okay. All right. And I'll bring them up right here. All right. So here's our first shot from Alicia. Look at this shot. Yeah, this is the we don't normally recap captions on these, but this was a friend of hers that passed away, and she was discussing in the comments how some of these photos are now priceless to her.
Obviously. Of course, yeah.
Which just illustrates how important the stuff that we do is. Capturing these moments in time that at the moment don't seem like a big deal, but a year later, a month later, whatever, they can prove to be priceless.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's, that's one of the big things about photography is that you immortalize anything that you capture. So that's always important to remember. So you want to capture your images, with integrity. So,
yep, absolutely.
I want to comment on the beautiful key line that Alicia put on there. So I appreciate her doing that.
She's probably over there. I hope he notices the key line I put on there. I hope he notices.
Yeah.
Cool. You taught her how to do that, right?
We did a quick tutorial. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. When
cool.
we did the triptychs, I think she had some challenges with the key line at first. So Steven Sharf and I, we did a little quick video and shared it.
Cool.
So what a cool location, though. I really dig these little spots. I like these little gems of locations.
Yeah.
And I love the sincerity of this pose. It's very casual. It's very neat. I find that when I'm photographing down on a subject like this, that I want to try to make sure that I can see their feet a little bit more and that it's a little bit more intentional. Mm-hmm. So I would have probably had him lean against the wall and kick his feet out, probably unnaturally far for what might a normal person do standing there.
Yeah.
But that way the feet aren't disappearing and then his body feels compressed.
Yeah, I agree. And I like the choice of black and white for this too, because clearly all that stuff around there. I'm sure the debris on the ground there at the base of the steps. There's lots of colors and stuff in there, which would have been distracting from the face of the street photography portrait.
Sure.
Sort of look. Yeah. So it looks really cool.
Sure.
I like this.
Sure. Yeah.
I also like the idea of cropping it square because you got lots of geometric patterns in here. Lots of rectangles and converging lines and all that stuff. And to crop it square just kind of emphasizes that subliminally. So well done.
Right. And keeping him off to the thirds, on the right is really nice. I would do a little bit more burning on the top right corner and the wall right behind him. Mm-hmm. Just to kind of bring all that down. You could even bring the whole tone of the image down ever so slightly, just to even give more depth into his face. But
do you see behind him? His coat is kind of thrown over his shoulder there, and behind the coat is what looks like a tire.
Right.
Would you have burned that down or de-emphasized that?
I would.
Do you think it adds to the shot?
No, I tend to burn down like entryways, like things like that, because I don't want to be distracted by that space. Like, because I think our brain says, "Oh, I wonder what's in there."
We want to go in there. Let's go explore.
Yeah, right? I don't want you to know what's in there. So, and plus, I can see the shadow from the flash that his coat is casting on the ground. So I would burn that down in there to just make it feel like it's just complete darkness. Maybe some hint of a thing. but not an open space that I want to go into.
You want to go into it? Yeah, you want to trap him. And the expression on his face is priceless, too.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Very good. Good shot, Alicia. Thank you for submitting that.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Our next shot is from Amy Brooks. Weeds. Look at that.
Oh, I like that. I love that abstract pattern, shallow depth of field. I'm trying to, my brain kind of wants to crop it a little bit. I'm not quite sure.
Like crop it how? Like crop in on that middle weed?
Yeah, maybe take a little bit of the right side off, put one subject in focus instead of like 3, 4, or 5.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. That's I had that in my notes to kind of ask and discuss with you about that. So you look at a shot like this, which could stand on its own, just as is, or as we always talk about, does there need to be a definitive subject, or is the whole thing the subject? Like in the case of this one, does one of the weeds need to stand out more than the others in order for this image to be successful?
I don't think it needs to for the image to be successful. I think it's going to come down to the viewer and the artist. What's the artist trying to communicate? For me, being a portrait photographer, I'm always trying to highlight my subject. And I guess, it's fair that my critique comes from that perspective. As an overall abstract, if you just want to show texture and color, this is wonderful. Where I'm distracted is the subject in the dead center isn't as sharp as the subjects on the outside, the lower left corner and the right side, and even the top left. So I'm kind of conflicted where I want my eyes to sit, and I feel disconnected from the image.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I mean, I love the color.
These are like landscapes, right? Because if you do a landscape, the whole thing is the subject. This is like a landscape in miniature.
Yep. This would be a perfect background on your monitor, or just a giant texture, or like a portrait, like a wall portrait, like a print that just shows color to a room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I could see like a room that is decorated with a bunch of earth tones and with a big print of this on the wall.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you, Amy Brooks. Armando's up next. Look at the shallow depth of field on this shot. He's shot this in the comments. He said he shot it with a 7200 on a full frame. So yeah, that looking at this shot, it from a micro four thirds standpoint, I like that shallow depth of field. However, when I look at this shot, I wonder how much bokeh is too much bokeh. Because at a certain point, it starts looking like, it's a cutout person on a blurry background put there, because the background is so out of focus and the foreground is so tack sharp. There's almost too much separation. But on this one, I don't know. I want to get your thoughts on it. What do you think?
I don't think there can ever be too much shallow depth of field.
Blur more. Life looks better at f.7.
I really want that Nikon Z Nocto lens. Just so I can shoot at like 0.95. Like, I just think that is the coolest thing ever, to be able to shoot that shallow, because it's like a different reality to see that way, because our brains don't see that way.
Everything becomes a background at that point, right?
Yeah, and I love that. So I really dig this. The shallow depth of field. A couple nitpicks. I think we have a little too much space behind the subject, so I'd really like to remove that. And then under the subject's right arm, I can see some cloning tracks or some cloning marks in there. And I'm guessing that this was masked and the background was taken down either in Photoshop or taken down even further, at least in some areas, or something was cloned out under her right arm, right behind her elbow.
I see that. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yep. Yeah. Huh. When you're doing weddings and your engagement shoots and all that, what lenses do you normally shoot with?
My phone is ringing.
I heard that.
On
amateur.
My computer, no less.
Welcome to Messenger.
Real world recording right there. My favorite lens is my 85-1.4.
85-1.4?
Yeah,
okay.
I have the Nikon 85-1.4, and I also have the Sigma 85-1.4 Art Series. And I absolutely...
What's the difference? Is there a difference between the two?
Weight. 3 pounds.
Oh, weight. Okay.
Yeah.
But you couldn't, if you shot the same image with both images or with both lenses, would you be able to tell the difference?
I could tell a difference. Yeah. I think
You could, really?
Yeah, I think that the Sigma is a slightly bit sharper and has a little bit less chromatic aberration than does the Nikon. And I haven't quite figured out why that is. Maybe I got a funky Nikon lens and whatnot, but both of them are absolutely superb pieces of glass, and they're my favorite lenses by far. I walk around all day with that.
Interesting. Yeah, I've heard other photographers say that that's their like. I was watching some videos from a boudoir photographer, and he was talking about his main 3 lenses are 35. I think these were like, in the 1 range for f-stops. 35. And for like sort of wide shots when you need background detail. But the primary driver in his case, this is Michael Sasser, was a 50 millimeter f1.4 for 90% of his work. And then for some work where he wanted to get closer and more intimate with the subject, he would choose 85. And you're the 85 primarily, right?
Yeah. And the reason that I don't go with the 50 is I don't really have the time to get closer. I like to reach out a little bit more, so that's why I feel like the 85 is the perfect length for me. I can walk around a dance floor, or my subjects can have enough distance, and I can have them pick up and kiss and run and do all that kind of stuff, and I don't have to be so close. I'm also working with other professionals like videographers. And if I'm shooting with a 50, I'm going to be probably in their shot, right? I'll be too close. So the 85 over time has just become that perfect focal length that everybody can work from. And I just love it. I just love the look of it. And I see an 85 1.4 now. I see the world in that. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. And then what happened to the 70-200 being the staple for wedding photographers?
I still think it is a little bit, but it's too big and heavy.
It is. Yeah. I have one, and dang. Yeah. I mean, I love it. The images that come out of it are worth, the tendonitis or whatever you're going to get for walking around with that thing. But the images are beautiful on that the Lumix S1 with the 7200 and that 51.4, which is the most expensive 51.4 on the planet that I have on loan.
Yeah.
It is, the images are just beyond anything I could ever dream of with a Micro Four Thirds camera in terms of resolution and bokeh and all that. Right. But the universe giveth and taketh away, and it giveth great image quality and taketh away, the ability to hold that thing up all day.
Right. It's like anything. Use the lens that fits your need. I use a 70-200 a lot because sometimes I need to reach through the crowd, or I need to reach, from the back of the church or whatever. But if I have a preference, I'd still rather shoot it with my 85 and walk up closer.
Really? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
We have to talk about that, because I'm really curious about like what a working pro like you uses on a just sort of your desert island kit. It sounds like your desert island kit is a Nikon Z or Z and an 85 mil lens on it, right?
Yep. And a fisheye. I'd be happy with that.
And a fisheye, and maybe a battery charger with some solar cells. Awesome. Cool. All right. Let's move right along. We're going to step up the pace a little bit, by the way, because we have a bunch to go through. All right. Next shot is from Mr. Craig Stampley down under in Brisbane.
Nice. Infrared right there. I like that.
Look at those clouds, man. Those clouds remind me of a shot I did from an airplane. Remember back in the days when we could actually use airplanes? I did a shot from above the clouds and then inverted it. So it was just the weirdest shot. It was the weirdest. It just like, you look at it, and because most people, you don't normally think of seeing clouds from the top of them and lit from the top. But if you shoot them from the top and then invert that shot, it just has this weird.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy. You can't even put your finger on it. I have to find that image. You can't put your finger on what's wrong, but something's wrong because it's like lit incorrectly. Like, where was the sun to get those shadows? I don't understand it. So yeah, I love this shot. This shot is very ominous because I want to know what's happening on the right side there. It's crazy.
Yeah, it looks like an incoming storm or something. I love the composition. I feel like I have a little too much space on the left, so I would probably prefer this image to be a little bit more square. But that's preference. I feel like the lighthouse is too tight to the right edge, and because I can't see anything back there. And
Been lost over there. Yeah.
yeah, and really my only other suggestion is I wish that the lighthouse was straight vertical. It feels like it's leaning
To the left a little bit.
yeah, to the left. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the converging lines on that building are telltale. You can fix those converging lines too, relatively easily with Photoshop.
Yep.
If he wanted to, right? Maybe he wanted that sort of the keystoning effect there to show the grandeur of the lighthouse.
Yeah, and it looks to me like you fixed the horizon, but that's not always going to be the perfect solution for all the elements in the image. So the horizon looks like it's nice and flat and level, right? But the lighthouse is still tilting because of the perspective of the glass.
Yeah, and I'm also happy you put the white border on there, because on this black background, without that border on there, the right side, you wouldn't know where the photograph ended on a black screen like this.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Craig Stampley.
Very nice.
Next shot is from Eric Pronsky. I love the look on this woman's face.
I know. I thought, what an amazing image, especially right now, right? Like to see this, just the happiness smile of somebody there. I just like this. I would love to know more about the story of this. Like, did he ask her for permission to photograph, or did he just lift the camera?
The caption said he walked up. He was doing street photography, I assume, and he was walking by and aimed his camera at this woman, and she looked up and smiled. Right.
That's amazing. I've always been nervous to do street photography.
Me too.
I love it, but
I admire like the Valerie Jardins and the other street photographers of the world that just live in that.
Yep.
I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like a thief in the night stealing photos.
I do. And maybe it's just, the genre that I work in. Peter Levshin is absolutely amazing at breaking that barrier with strangers and talking to them and letting him photograph them. I think it's the accent. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think it is. We laugh, but I think it's probably depending on where he is, right? But I think it's partially the accent, and Peter is an older guy. He doesn't look that threatening, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. He kind of waddles up to him. Yeah.
Yeah. This cute older guy waddling up with a camera with an accent. You're gonna say you're like the old guy from Up. You're gonna say. You're going to say yes, of course. How could you say no to that?
Nice.
But, conversely, if you have someone like The Rock or somebody with a camera walking around snapping pictures, that's a little bit more intimidating. So.
That's true. I love this. I love this image that Eric created. I feel like the left side, the newspapers, are too bright. So really just burn that down. Try to get a little bit. Yeah, try to get it into the same tone as the right side of the image, just so that it really focuses, because your subject is that woman and her smile. The smile is really what we want to see first. So burn down that left edge and kind of bring us into the center, and it's great. It's fantastic.
Would you burn down, or would you just throw a vignette on this?
I would do it by hand, because I don't think like a circular vignette or even a linear gradient is going to look natural. I think you're better off to burn it in by hand. Okay. Yeah, and this is going to work really good to do this in the raw, as opposed to doing this post like in Photoshop, because the colors will shift if you did it in post. And you've got that blue light coming in from the left. So if you want to get really nitpicky, I would take the blue out of the left half and warm it up slightly, so it feels like a continuous warm tone through the whole image.
Nice. Very cool. All right. Eric Pronsky. Thank you, sir.
Bravo.
Next shot up is from Ernest Hallett. Look at this.
I like that.
It is a quad shot. Okay. I'm putting myself in your shoes now and putting on my OCD hat.
Yeah.
I know you're going to say the first thing you're going to say about this shot. Can I say it before you say it?
Yep.
One of these things is not like the other. It's the gap between the images, and the one on the far right has more gap than the other three, right?
Yeah. And at first, when I saw that, I thought that has to be intentional, and like the three are like a triptych, and then the fourth is like the resolving the story of the triptych, right? So I tried to figure out what that might be, and it just it just, there wasn't. I couldn't figure it out. So then I thought, well, this must just be 4 images in a series. Why is the 4th image moved farther to the right than the rest? Why is that gap bigger? So that was my struggle. I mean, I love the 4 images. I love the color palette, the blues on the outside and the warm tones in the middle. Very creative.
Well, yeah, that too. Yeah, and then the what about the key lines around the images?
The key lines look pretty good. They all look a little bit different.
I was gonna say that they are a little bit different. I don't know if it's the 2 ones on the edge are the same and the 2 in the middle are the same. That's what it looks like to me in terms of the width or the thickness of that key line.
Yeah, and really what I would just point out is that our brains really like uniformity and pattern, symmetry, and repetition and things like that. So when you break that repetition, if it's done intentionally, that's great. But in this case, it's more, I think it's confusing, right? It's like I don't know what you're saying to me. Which is
and that's the other thing. Like, I don't know what you're saying to me. Like, notwithstanding the spacing between the images or the border, I was wondering, well, what is this triptych about? Like, I see the shoe, the 2 starfish, and I'm not sure what the thing on the far right is. It looks like water or some sort of condensation or something. But what's the story? What's the story of the triptych in this shot?
Right. I think this is also a good exercise.
Or the quad trick, sorry.
Right, the quad trick, yeah. I think this is a good exercise or an example of, if you want to create chaos in your images, do things like this, right? Add differing spacing, differing sizing, differing, gaps. And like you can add chaos, and it just freaks out your brain if that's what you want.
Right. Cool. I love these colors, though. These colors pop.
I do,
I love the warm and the cold together.
I really want to know what that...
Starfish are just aliens. I just want to go on the record.
Yeah, they are.
They are alien creatures.
Well, I really just want to know what that last image is. I cannot figure that out.
Yeah, Ernest, let us know, man. What in the comment on the critique post? What is that last image in your quad trick? I'm curious as well.
Yeah,
I think that first image is, Cinderella lost that, right? So that's very nice.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that 4th image is.
I don't know either. We will find out.
Yeah. I'm digging it though.
All right, moving right along to the next shot. Thank you, Ernest. Freddie Sedano. I knew this was a Freddie Sedano shot before I even saw his name on it.
Yeah. I am inevitable. I am Iron Man. Very nice.
Yeah, that is cool. Both with the gauntlet. Iron Man was the best hero ever, man.
It is pretty cool. Yeah, this is really fun. This is a really neat composite. I like the work that was done. Nice storyline. I like the division of the colors, so that we can see, their color palette for each side.
But if you're going to be consistent with the Avengers, with I am inevitable and I am Iron Man, Thanos's gauntlet should not have the Infinity Stones in it. Just saying. Because Tony took them, and then, killed Thanos.
Well, at what stage though? Like, what stage in the timeline is
when
this?
He said this? When he said, "I am inevitable."
Oh, okay.
That's when he snapped, and then realized that, oops, Tony's glove took my stones, and then Tony said, "I am inevitable," or "I am Iron Man," and boom.
See, I am not that well versed.
I am unapologetically a Marvel nerd. So.
Oh, nice.
Minted since the age of 13.
Oh my gosh. My only nitpick on the image is the mask, Iron Man's mask. I think the eyes should be completely transparent, right? Like that's a mask. So it looks like, the opacity is reduced there. So I think that we should be able to see through that space the same as the space on the outside. Yeah. Unless there's a window in there or something that we don't know about. But
yeah, this is fun though. This is a fun image. I love how they Freddie picked the color palette of purple, which is Thanos' skin color. For him, and then the split screen of Iron Man, which he tends to be gold and red. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Good shot. I like it. It's fun.
Yeah. Lit nicely. Very creative.
All right. Thank you, Freddie Sedano. Moving on to the next shot. James Glennie is up. This made me feel funny. I'm like, what is going on here? This is which is good, right? It makes you think, like, what is happening? Is this an asteroid field? Are these effervescent bubbles, or is this some sort of disease? Like, what is happening here? It's crazy. But, looking at the shot, the first thing that my brain wanted to do was rotate it so that it's vertical. So that like the dark's at the bottom and lights at the top, or vice versa, because it feels like if it's bubbles, it feels like they want to be moving up in a direction. So in my head, I would rotate it and then have it go up. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm trying to my first thing is like what the heck is that? Like is that bubbles and ice? Is it the surface of something?
It's a close up of Saturn's rings. That's what it is.
Oh, okay. I do kind of like the light from the left, but I like what you were saying about making it vertical, because then that sort of tells the story of bubbles. The left to me makes it feel more like a planetary surface of some kind, and like that's where the light is, and this sort of sculpts and shapes the surface.
Yeah.
The mere fact that we're discussing it in this way means that it's working, because we have no idea exactly what it is. This would have
been a great shot in the abstract critique, right?
Yeah. I'm wondering. I know James he makes a lot of bread, and I wonder if this is like something from one of his sourdough bread mixes. I'm only guessing. I can't tell by looking at it. I'm guessing.
I like it. Well, which is good. It's making us think.
Yeah.
Processing wise, would you have changed anything, either in the image itself or with the border?
No, not so much with the border. I think I would have brought the highlights down ever so slightly, and I would have certainly deepened the shadows first for more contrast. I wouldn't separate the highlights and shadows. I would just darken the shadows slightly to give it a little bit more depth. But that's just, preference. I like things that are more crunchy.
Yeah. Yep. There's a crunchy shot in here coming up for you.
Ooh, good. I like crunchy shots.
All right. Thank you, James Glennie. Good shot. Let us know what this is, man. I'm curious too. All right, Joshua Sommerfeld is up next with what looks like Gary Coleman as as a squirrel saying, "What you talking about, Willis?"
Oh my gosh!
I love that. I love that expression. Do you ever wonder if squirrels are actually making that? Do they actually? Is that just the way their faces are built, or do they actually, make these kinds of? Is this guy thinking something?
I think he's thinking something, because to me, squirrels' faces are very much like cats. Mm-hmm. And being a cat person, I got a couple cats. Like, they have expressions, and this is an annoyed expression.
Exactly. It's like there's a nut over there that I want to go get, and you're here with that stupid camera.
You're in my way.
It's in my way.
Yeah. The ears are turned forward, so the squirrel is certainly paying attention to what's in front of him, which is probably you trampling through the woods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would have probably cropped off the furthest right branch. I would have left the little branch in at the top, but I probably would have cropped it in a little bit tighter. I don't think we need all that space on the right.
Yeah. And that would have pushed you in a little bit closer into his face. Mm-hmm. Is the squirrel a little soft to you?
Yeah, it looks a little bit like on his nose. His eye looks pretty sharp, but it's hard to tell. Coming through Mighty compresses a little bit, but yeah. I don't think it's tack.
Yeah, I like it though.
But that's more of the photojournalistic,
photojournalistic / opportunistic shot, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure the squirrel didn't pose for too long for this photo.
Right.
So yeah, they have quick reflexes, turn, aim, focus, shoot, boom.
Yep.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool shot, Joshua. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next
shot up is from Karen Sweeney. Get this little birdie.
That is cool. I love that branch. I love how that comes down.
Mm-hmm. How about that bokeh?
Well, yes, of course. That shallow. Yes.
It doesn't get much more shallow than that.
Yeah. I love how that bird's just hanging onto the side, like just chilling there.
Yep. Because you can.
it doesn't appear to me that the bird is in focus. I
was
feel
gonna say that.
Yeah, I feel like it's sharper on the branch. For sure.
Yeah, like the whatever that debris is, mold or whatever that is on the branch going up is sharp focused.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I dig it. I think it's wonderful. Maybe a little bit more saturation in that yellow would be really cool to make it pop. But definitely, being sharp right on the bird. Nice composition.
Focus rate. Like do you use the targeting computer in your Nikon to help you focus, or are you manually focusing, or do you use single point focus? What's your preference?
So I use I'm trying to think what they call it. It's like a multi-point autofocus. So, and then I move the focus point around where I want it. Okay. So in a case like this, I would have moved the focus point over on my subject, and then I would have shot as it's focusing on my subject.
Okay.
Yeah. So I only shoot, or I only focus manually when the autofocus can't do it for me.
Does the Nikon allow you to move that focus point with your eye up to the EVF? Like, in other words, can you touch and drag the focus point on the LCD on the back of the camera when the camera is up to your face and the LCD is off?
No, you have to use. There's a D-pad or like a little joystick button on the back,
or use a Lumix camera. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get thumb smuts all over your screen, I guess that's what you would do. But
that's okay, because that's what shirts are for, man.
No, that would be very cool. I guess I'm also super used to having the button on the back of the camera, because if I press it, it recenters it. So if I have the camera away from my eye, I recenter the center point. So when I lift it up, I'm already moving the focus point to where I need it to be before it hits my eye. So I'm constantly moving that focus point around. So that's what I would have made sure to do on this image.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to do a comparison discussion with the merits and the drawbacks of our individual camera systems, because this one thing I was just going through yesterday actually was the autofocusing system on the Lumix S1, and its animal and people detection. It's like Arthur C. Clarke magic, because it not only can it detect people and faces and the closest eye and all that stuff, but animals as well. It knows all kinds of animals. And I was just sitting in the living room aiming it at the TV, the big screen TV, because I can't go anywhere to find animals, right? And there was a scene with people and animals in it, and it drew boxes around the little animals as well as the humans.
Yeah.
In the scene. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. So cool. Karen Sweeney, thank you for this. All right, next shot is from Lamb.
Oh, wow.
Lamb, I still need to know how to pronounce your last name, because I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Whip? Is it Whip? Or how do you pronounce that? Lamb, you got to let us know phonetically in the comments on this post.
Yeah, we don't do good with only consonants, right?
Right. I need a vowel, man. Come on. Let us know. How do you pronounce WP?
Yeah.
What do you think of the shot?
It's very interesting, and I like the creative vision. I think that it troubles me that it just feels like there's noise on top of noise, I guess. I don't know how better to describe it. I wish that the water droplets were moving and that they were soft and smooth, and then you had that sharpness behind it. I think I'm lacking depth. So
maybe that's what he was going for, just sort of that compression.
Yeah, I mean, and again, that's why I said I feel, for me, it's I'm kind of struggling with where my subject is, and the water droplets in the foreground seem to be distracting from the subject that I want to see that's behind it. So for me, I struggle with an image like this. Yeah. I would have loved to have seen the water droplets a little bit blurred, like I said, and that would have created a foreground, middle ground, and background.
Yeah, I wonder how this was shot. Is this a window that he's shooting through that has water droplets on it, or was it raining? Like, it's interesting. It does make you think, though, right?
Yeah. It could have been maybe a water feature somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, or yeah, like some sort of water feature.
Yeah.
I think he's going for that because of his crop. He's going for that sort of elongated accentuation and compression, showing the tall buildings in the background with this more traditional structure in the middle, and then greenery in the
Right.
foreground.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
cool.
Cool
All right.
exercise and textures for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe black and white for this shot. Maybe that would
Ooh,
have
I think
popped it
that
out
would.
a little bit.
I think I would just flatten it all out.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Lamb, let us know how to pronounce your last name. Thank you for submitting this.
Let Frederick know because I don't have to announce them.
Yes. Every
I do
time I
want to
see
know.
the name, I'm like, I don't. It's,
I know.
Lamb is too familiar because we haven't chatted or anything. All right. Next shot. Laura Patton,
This is beautiful.
Super Moon.
Yeah, this is beautiful. And Frederick and I had some discussion about this one in the green room, so to speak, trying to figure out. One, let me just say that it's beautiful. I love the color palette. I love the storytelling here. The composition feels wonderful. One of the things that that I struggle with is that one, it feels like the horizon is tilted to the right, and I'm also having a hard time believing that the moon was there. Because it feels like it's dropped in, and I hate to say that if it's not, but I don't see any clouds in front of the moon, and that's kind of making me think like I feel like it's dropped in there, which is fine if that's an illustrated piece of art that you want.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just that's what I want to know. I mean, we were sort of talking about, is this a composite? Is it not a composite? But on the merits of it alone, not being a photographer, and I was giving this some thought. Not being a photographer, looking at the shot, it's just like, wow, yeah, that's a great image right there. We as photographers look at it and want to nitpick it, and how did you do this? Is that a real moon? How come there are no clouds in front of the moon? Those kinds of things. But yeah, on its own, I think this is a wonderful piece of art. I think that she executed pretty well.
Right. And I think that, whether we can identify them or not, whether us as photographers or other viewers, there's always going to be elements to an image that are going to feel wrong, or they're going to feel off, not necessarily wrong. And, for this image, having that drop shadow outline around the moon, that kind of feels wrong.
Yeah,
right?
your brain goes into Truman Show mode at that point. It's like, is that moon real? What's happening up there?
Right. I still love the creative aspect of this image, and I don't want to detract from the creativity of this image in any way. I would say that I think we don't need the right half of this image almost at all. I think that is that a lighthouse should be horizontally centered. Like maybe square or almost more vertical.
Since she's got the moon positioned exactly behind the lighthouse, just continue that symmetry in the shot and go with a square crop, so that way it looks intentional.
Yep. Just go with symmetry all the way around. Vertical, horizontal, and then the moon, and then you've got a wonderful, wonderful piece of art. Yeah,
it's cool. All right, Laura Patton, thank you. This is the crunchy one I was talking about. This is
this is Mark's, right?
Mark Charette, whom I did a webinar with last week on LinkedIn. So check it out on the site if you haven't.
Yes, that was very good. Yeah, I'm actually going to do one with him Wednesday on his 360 stuff. Oh,
cool, very good.
Yeah, I like this. I'm okay with the super crunch on these type of images. I think they're very postcard, very dramatic.
It's intentional. Yeah. This remind, whenever I see these kinds of images, which are great, I love crunchy, I love oversaturated, just like you do. I like things that pop. If I was to create a world, have the power to create a world, everything would be shallow depth of field and punchy like this.
Yes.
The organisms on it would not be able to see it very far. They'd have shallow depth of field. But this reminds me, like, remember when Trey Ratcliffe was starting to popularize HDR photography, and and there was the whole wave of everyone was doing it, and then the backlash of no one wanted to do it, and now we're kind of swinging back in the other direction of it's okay if you want to do whatever the heck you want to do, you know?
Well, of course, it's your art. Yeah.
It's your art. Yeah. Don't let anybody tell you that it's not Vogue or whatever.
Well, you know, I think that Ansel Adams was one of the true first maybe HDR artists in that, you know, he built custom enlargers and he tried to print and expand the zone system, right? The tonality of an image, try to get it closer to what our eyes can see. And that's really kind of what we're doing here is trying to get it as close to the range that we see with our own eyes and our brain, how our brain builds the image. The telltale signs of an image like this is the oversaturation of color and all of that, which I am okay with in this subject. You know, if you had a human in there that was, you know, Oompa Loompa color, I would say, well, probably not.
Right. But there's no real point of reference in here to screw up the color balance like that.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a rendition of your vision of that moment in time, and oftentimes, you know, we see colors and, you know, skies and smells and things in that experience that this vividness tells that story, and I dig that. I want to go down there. I want to go down there and walk down there.
Yeah. Hey, Mark, I want to see the original shot of this too. I want to see, if you're willing to lift the kimono, I want to see. I want to see the original shot to see so we can understand what processing went into it. But cool shot, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. The next shot is with Mark Harris. Talk about that wide angle, right? You like wide angle lenses? Yeah. So this shot, this is interesting. From a nature standpoint, you feel like you want to see what was going on around this tree. For me, I'm curious as to know how big this tree was because the wide angle lens distorts it so much you don't really know. But looking at how he shot it, this looks like a gigantic, like 100-year-old tree or something. I don't know. What do you think?
You know what? I'm guessing it's a big tree. I love the distorted fisheye look. I want to see a little bit more contrast in it, but just the whole abstractness of it, looking up at the sky, the patterns and everything, I'm happy with it. These are the type of images that I take, you know, when I'm walking through places like this.
Yeah. No, I like it. This is very cool. Black and white. You're happy with the black and white?
I
or
love
would you have changed anything?
I love the black and white. You know, this would look good in color if the sky was nice and blue. You know, if it's just sort of a overcast day, kind of a gray, then not so much. But the contrast between the trees, the dark color of the trees, the bark and the branches, silhouetted against blue can also look really nice. So,
yeah.
But I like this. I would for me, I would probably crop up from the bottom. If you cropped off the bottom 2/3 of the image and made it horizontal with the top third. I kind of like that better because I like the pattern of the branches against the sky. That's always a fate.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I'm holding my hand up. Yeah, that would look cool. Yeah, because then it becomes all about the branches against the sky instead of the right now the subject is the actual tree trunks themselves. Right. If you cut that off and then make the story about the pattern of these things shooting up into perspective with the branches. Yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Cool. All right, moving right along. This next shot. Let's see if I can bring this up. Oh, I don't know how that got in there. How did that get in there?
Oh my God. What the heck? Just randomly on your desktop or what?
I don't know how that got in there. It just shows up there. That's my iPhone background picture. I had to do it. All right. Next shot is from Michael DeRay.
Oh, my God. I can't even think straight now.
You're like, wait. Short circuit does not compute. For those that don't know, that was the Miller family from back in the day.
That was on our Christmas card.
Oh yeah, that was your Christmas card. I just like to draw a circle around the mullet somebody has in this shot.
That's very late 80s that had to be that had to be 90, 91, 92. Yeah.
Wow. Serious in the front, party in the rear. Look at that. Oh, God. I had to do it. That is fantastic.
Thank you, my friend. That's amazing.
You're welcome. You know, I had to shake it up every now and then. All right. Michael Duray, look at these colors. Look at the colors. Red, white, green, brown at the table. This is art.
I love almost everything about this image.
Except for the placard on the desk. Yeah, I knew it. Because it makes you want to read it, and you know what it is. This is a no smoking thing that they throw in every hotel room.
Yeah.
If you had removed that out of there, it becomes, well, first of all, you take it out of this is a hotel room, right?
Yeah.
It could be any room. And then it becomes all about the 4 or 5 elements in there versus you trying to squint and read what's on that placard.
Yeah, and that could easily be removed in post, and I think it should be. The color palette in this is fantastic. The geometry is amazing. The composition, the square crop. This reminds me of a series that I did. We did a 3-week road trip, drove up to Washington and Oregon and into Canada, and every hotel that I went to, I did like a bunch of images in the hotel abstracts in the rooms because every room is different. And this is just a step above that. I think this is great. This deserves to be in a series, and this is.
Yeah, I love the thick border. I love everything. Yeah, this is a really nice shot.
Yeah,
really
this is exceptional. This is definitely one of Michael's best that I think he's shown us.
Yep, except for that placard.
Except for the no smoking placard. Yeah,
you gotta clone that out of there.
Yeah.
But cool shot, man. Thank you.
Love the treatment, the border, the square. Mm-hmm. Like, well done, buddy. Well done.
Well done. Yep. Just like I like my steaks. Actually, no, I like my steaks medium. Thank you. The way they should be cooked. All right, next shot. Michael Rhino tiptoeing through the tulips that are freezing.
I was gonna say that looks like ice. That's crazy.
Yeah, or frost. Yeah, or snow. Yeah, there's probably snow because look at the rocks in the background. That's snow.
Right. Wow, I love that color. I feel like there's too many subjects in this frame. I would really love to have seen like one isolated, icy tulip as opposed to the 3, and then the one in the lower left hand corner feels like it's drawing me out of the frame.
Yep, I agree. I would say the same thing. Yeah, this does feel like 3 subjects, and it's interesting. It draws us in because you don't typically see tulips with frost or snow or something on them, right? So yeah, I would love to have one tulip like the one on the right or maybe the one on the far left close up. A different photo, like recomposed, showing the frost on it, and with just one of them in there. I like the bokeh. I like the blurry background. I like the fact that I can see that there's snow back there, so this isn't contrived. So yeah, I like it. I like it's interesting. I like the fact that these are kind of a juxtaposition of what you ordinarily would think is a sort of springtime summer, flora, but in an environment where you don't normally find it.
Yeah, and normally when I see subjects like this that I really like, but I don't see an overall like a wide composition that I feel sort of tells a good story, I immediately go to like macro. I go in really, really close, isolation, minimalism, abstract, things like that. Try to remove as much as possible from the scene in frame. Yeah,
I agree.
Cool job, Michael.
Right. Michael Rhino, thank you, sir. All right, Mike Doran's up next. The 2020 shot. Look at this, yeah.
Nice panning shot. That's very cool. It feels, is it a little soft? Does it look soft? Maybe it's just cropped.
I'm not sure. In either case, it does feel a little bit soft. It feels a little bit soft.
But I like.
But it's either soft or well, Mike is always very very good at tracking in the motion blur stuff. The panning shots. So yeah, maybe this was just a little bit soft.
Yeah, good sense of motion. I love the angle of the bike. It's not completely horizontal or parallel, if you will, from the bottom to the top. It's coming into the lower left frame, which I like a lot. It feels like it's approaching me, so it gives it a good sense of motion and a little bit sense of tenseness in there.
All right. Well, thanks, Mike Doran, for this shot. I wonder how motorsports like this are going to be impacted by what's going on with this pandemic stuff.
Right. Everything's affected. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if this is going to be like, yeah, we're still racing, but there are no crowds allowed now. Or something. So you can watch virtually if you want to see the race. All right. Next shot. Peter Levshin. Look at that. That's very graphical.
That's cute.
Would you drop some clouds in there with Luminar?
Yes. Yeah.
You would?
Yeah. Peter, we're gonna. I know that you submitted 2 images, so we're gonna disqualify this one until you put clouds in it, and then you have to.
There you go. Yeah, or something back there. Yeah, something back there. But I see what he's going. I think if he had. First of all, this is not a bad image.
No.
Yeah, but it's very graphical, and I'd almost want it to be more graphical, like almost a silhouette. Like if you're going to go with the white background, the foreground characters were silhouetted, right? With the grass silhouetted in the foreground and all that to make it more of a lithograph kind of feel.
That would be cool with very little detail coming through in the shadow part. Yes,
Yeah.
Absolutely. And a little bit of cloud. Yeah, that background needs some texture.
Some sort of texture back there. Yep. Cool. Yep. But yes, you submitted 2, Peter, so we're officially disqualifying this one for you so that we can focus on the other one. Speaking of the other one, here's the other one.
Ooh. That's nice.
This I like this one.
I would give extra points if it had a nice key line and a presentation.
It draws you in though, right? It
does.
Almost feels like that whole scene is being lit by the candle. We know it's well, maybe it is. I don't know. It just feels like the background and everything are being lit by that one candle power.
Yes, it does. I love that how the light is really just on the subject's face. It looks to me like the background's been burned down, probably, and you can tell because there's a bit of a halo around the subject's head and behind the subject's right ear, above the subject's right ear. You see that bright spot. That's just you just got to be a little bit more specific about detail oriented when you're doing the burning. And probably missed that spot, but. But other than that, I mean, I just love the mood of this. This is great. Yeah,
this is one of my favorites, though, because it definitely draws you in, and it has that mood, and it's different, So it's obviously not from here, where we are in California.
I think that was from his recent trip. Maybe he can tell us.
Oh, really? Yeah, Peter, let us know. Was this your recent trip around the world? I'm curious.
Yeah. Good storytelling. I really like it. The expression on the face.
All right. Next shot up is from William Bannock.
Oh, wow.
A Tiny Planet.
Wow.
I want to do this. I have a Insta360, and I want to take it out and do some shots like this to play around in some different areas. This is really cool. I like you know what I'm interested. What I'd be interested to see, like a shot like this. Can you replace a sky on a shot like this?
Ooh, yeah, I wonder.
All the way around. That would be interesting.
I love the color palette of this, from the blue, the gray, the green, and then the red of the building. And I feel like the building is the subject, which I really dig. A lot of times with these type of images, and I think the last one he did as well, you have a subject, right? Like you need a subject. Oftentimes they're just sort of monogamous in the subject matter. So this is the building. I really feel like this is that building with that mural on the side. I'm wondering, even what do you think is what about removing the person, right? That took it in the middle.
Yeah. I would remove the person. Yeah. That doesn't really add anything to it, right? Because if anything, it takes away, because you're like, what is that in the middle? So yeah, to remove that, and it's on the person is on a relatively easily cloned out background, right? So that's a couple of clicks of a healing brush.
Definitely, yeah.
So yeah, I would have taken that out, but also would like to see more texture in the clouds on the left side of the frame to sell it, more. The tiny planet feel. Because it's kind of blank and white over there, but you have some cloud texture on the right side. I'd want to see some cloud texture on the left side too.
Yeah, I agree. I do like the power lines and then the building, which is the juxtaposition of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the divide, the concrete or the asphalt and then the grass feels like it divides the image in two parts.
Yep.
That's very cool. That is very.
Yeah, it's a very nice shot. I think you need to get a 360 camera and introduce that into your wedding workflow, Troy.
You know what? Yeah. What I was looking at would be really cool is to crop off the power line side, right? Crop it off at the grass and then rotate it like as if you shot the image vertically. So then you would rotate it so the buildings are going up and then the grass is your baseline and then just crop it like a traditional photo.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Like it was shot with an obscenely wide angle lens.
Yeah, that could be fun. And do the same thing with the power lines, right? Then you have two images in there. But I like it.
Yeah, I dig it. William Bannock, good work. Being creative out there. Look at you.
Bam. Just like that.
All right, that's it.
Ooh,
we're back to square one again. Do you have a favorite in there?
Ooh,
there's a lot.
I have a lot of favorites. I really like Peter's image. I think it's the monk with the candle.
The monk with the candle.
Not the other one, the kids with the stick.
Yeah, you don't like the stick.
Plus, we disqualified that one.
Yes, yeah, that one's out of here. That one's dead to us. Sorry, Peter.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I like this one. I like this one as well. This is my favorite one.
Yeah, it's very simple. It's very storytelling. And maybe some of it has to do with the environment that we're in right now and quarantine and stuff. I feel like this really feels like I feel a lot, or like a lot of us feel kind of by ourselves, single flame, that kind of thing. I don't know. It speaks to me. I really like it. And it's well done, of course.
Yeah, it's very zen. That's what you're trying to say. It's very zen.
It's very, yeah.
No, I like it. Good job, Peter Levshin. Cool. All right. That was this thing goes long as I thought. We're only at 57 minutes right now.
Yeah,
so.
We did good. We did good. Even with all of our banter.
Yeah, nitpickery.
Our lens diversions, our lens banter.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, we geek out on gear like the next guy.
We do. We what we need to do is we need to record the green room when we're just BSing about stuff and talking about gear. We just need to record those as like behind the scenes.
Absolutely, behind the scene, SEEN. Right.
Oh, you're clever. You're clever, man.
Look at that. I'm here all week, man. So next week, speaking of weeks, next week is on April. It is, as we record this, is April 13th, 2020.
Right.
Next week is Wednesday, April 20. I think it's Wednesday, April 22nd.
22nd
is Earth Day. Right?
Yes.
So the topic for next week is Earth. Should we make it Earth Day or Earth or environmental or what do you think?
Let's just do Earth. Let's just do Earth, right? Okay. Then it could be anything. It could something along those genres, knowing that we're talking about Earth Day, but something that has to do with this hunk of rock we live on. Yeah.
Spaceship Earth, I call it. Spaceship Earth.
Yeah, the big turtle.
Yeah, hurtling through the cosmos. How fast is Earth moving? I don't know. Some obscene speed that we're moving at. And we're stuck to the surface, hanging out with it. What does it mean to you? What does Earth mean to you? Which is a loaded topic.
It is. It is.
So you can come at it however you want to come at it, people. What does Earth mean to you? Try to keep it as non-political as possible.
Right.
But we'll see how that works out. But
I predict a bunch of amazing images, of course, from our community.
Yeah. Earth, especially the people that love landscape. Everything is Earth, right? Landscape, streets, macro, portraits. It's all
technically, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Unless it's a moonshot, then that's not Earth. Unless you say I took it from Earth, So cool, man. Before we break this one, any news or anything you want to share with the audience?
You know what? Just everybody be safe and just enjoy the quiet time. If you're with family, enjoy that. Other than that, deep breath and we'll all get out on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Take this time while you're on the stay at home order or wherever you are, whatever it's called, to organize your images.
Yeah.
Get things sorted on your Drobos or Synologies or whatever you have. Get everything sorted. Get rid of the old stuff. Like Mark was saying in the LinkedIn webinar, go through your LinkedIn account and eject the people that don't need to be there. Clean that up. Clean up your LinkedIn profile. It's a new world. You know, you may need that LinkedIn profile. So get in there and spruce it up and get everything ready. Use this time that you have so that we come out the other side kind of, you know, not feeling like, man, I should have done all this stuff when I had the time to do it. So you have forced time, so do it. So
you got it.
I don't think I can organize this place any more than I've organized it already. I'm like, is there another closet I can go through somewhere?
No, I've gone through them all.
Garage, everything. So, well, cool. All right, well, we'll leave it right there, Troy Miller, and I will see you next week for our Earth Day critique.
You got it.
Earth critique.
Earth critique, yes.
All right.
All right, buddy.
Man. See you later.
Right. Bye, guys.
This is TWiP.